Hello, Tiber fans, and welcome to another Coaches Show. And I am Tom Myler here hosting with Coach Ben Ammon, head coach of the women's soccer team. And I'm glad to have you here with us, Coach.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So let's get straight into it. You've already had 2 games, but I want to know a little bit about the preseason. You've got a young team. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we're heavy on the freshman side. We have 18 freshmen. 3 international kids. Others are Utah, Wyoming, basically. But yeah, they're young, they're talented, but we're still trying to create habits with them or get rid of bad habits. Get a good team concept going. Still try to develop our identity as far as what works best for us.
Okay, have you seen some of your sophomores step up at all as team leaders and helping encourage or coach some of these younger freshmen?
Oh yeah, I mean, you wouldn't think 1 year can make that much of a difference, but the returning players are a little bit more calm. They have an expectation because they know me on what I'm saying or what we're trying to do, and so they've been a big help, and they're doing a really good job. They've stepped up their play, which is really going to help us.
Oh, great. And a little bit more about this preseason. What's your mentality going in? How do you prep the players just for this upcoming season? Do you have any traditions of how to kind of go for, or I guess what's your process of getting ready?
Apart from the practices and trying to develop again the ideas of certain habits and certain traits, we try to scrimmage and play a couple of schools that are going to challenge us and they're going to force us to make mistakes. And so we had Carroll College and Rocky Mountain College, both in Montana. And of course they're 4-year schools, and when they have 2 and 3 4-year players, that for them is a big advantage. And so, we saw a very scared team from us the first time because they're nervous about playing that. And then between 2 days of prepping for the next 4-year school, dramatic improvement. And then, of course, we go into our first game having been able to work on, well, this is how they exposed us, or this is what we maybe weren't as good as. And so that's always a philosophy going forward. And so we were able to hit that first game making certain adjustments that we felt like are going to give us the best opportunity to succeed. And so far it's worked.
Great. So some of those scrimmages, the regular practices, kind of getting you prepped, and that actually is a great segue into that first game against Truckee Meadows. So you win 1-0. Let's get straight into it. The good, the bad, and what can be improved from that first game?
The first game, more of the defensive shape, where the players should be, even when the ball isn't around them. Sometimes freshmen come in, they get a little bit ball watching. In other words, the ball is one section of the field and they're kind of all staring at the ball, but not paying attention off the ball on where the play might go. So there was some of that confusion. We tried a slightly different formation in the game against Truckee, but it's the thing we need to keep doing. As the game went on, that got better, and we were able to score. We had other opportunities that we probably should have scored 2 or 3 more, and they maybe should have scored a couple of times. But in a early game, there's going to be some disorganization, maybe some not so pretty play, but you're hoping for the result, rather win ugly than lose pretty type of thing. And so that's kind of where we were at with that game.
Yeah, right. A win is a win. And we did see, at least from when I watched it, that early on, it felt like there was a lot of control. And then kind of toward half and a little bit after half, we kind of lost it. But then came right back and had lots of control toward the end of the game.
Right. And the thing we were most pleased, well, obviously win the game, but in the second half as the game went on, we felt like we were getting more and more control of it. And we missed on 2 or 3 really good opportunities where if we scored, then that game really gets put away. And that's soccer. A 1-0, 2-0 game can flip really, really quick. And so it's difficult to hold on to sometimes 1-0. But we had to play 90 minutes. The game is 90 minutes, but sometimes you get up really big and you kind of screw around. But we had to play 90 minutes that game, and so that was a really good thing that we had to stay. The intensity had to stay up. You couldn't really let off.
Okay. So favorite moment from that game, what would you say it was?
From the Truckee game, I thought we had one thing. Caitlin Grenfell, she either plays an outside back or a wing forward, and she understands our defensive shape really well because she was here last year, and she came in and just did a phenomenal job on the playing on the right side and getting she's getting in the channel. And so when the other team gets up and they're looking down the field, she's in that channel. And it's not about, in some positions, not pressing to that player to try to force her to do something, but that player on their team would look up and she didn't know what to do with the ball because Caitlin was in the way. And it's that concept that she got and was, what it did was it showed the whole team, when we do this, it's really effective. And so she did a great job with that.
Oh, yeah, I mean, there you are saying it, that 1 year really makes a difference.
It really
did. That leadership and just that experience really helps out. So 1-0, you get that first W. It might not have been the best W, but it was a W nonetheless. And you took that into Monday's game against Gillette. What was kind of maybe some of the differences you had to make, some adjustments?
Well, we watched, Gillette's returning, and so their coach, their head coach, a really good coach. I knew about him and have known of him when he coached in Iowa, and he got in there late. And he's trying to get a team going. We knew they had a few good players. A couple of them had played here before, and so but we got the luxury of being able to watch them live because they played Truckee the next day here, and then we had a few days off until Monday. So our goal going into that game was to be able to move the ball around. And we wanted to score goals, not because, well, that looks good on paper, but scoring goals, you gain confidence.
It's true.
You see that ball go in the back of the net, and now you start to believe we can score. Because up until that point, in the 2 scrimmages, we didn't score. We scored 1 against Truckee. And then against Gillette, we had a lot of success, and we scored 8 times. So the goal was to do that, and then again to play for 90 minutes. Don't have a drop off. Don't relax. The game plan of being able to move the ball around and not just knock it long, but can we find feet? They mostly did a good job with that. So we made steps. We kind of call it each day. It's can we be just a little bit better? 1%. Actually stolen from a graduation speech that we had a guy give that I really liked that idea. Hey, can we just be 1% better each day? Mm-hmm. Doesn't sound like a lot, but at the end of the season when you've done that, it's quite a bit. So we were able to improve on the offensive side, and our thought process was much better.
Awesome. And even from, once again, just my perspective watching the game, it looked like from that Truckee to that Gillette game, there was a little bit more patience when passing the ball. They didn't seem so scared. Just, they get it and just get rid of it. They were passing it to someone, and it seemed to flow much better. Even, I think, within the first 12 minutes, you had four goals. That was a lot of team efforts, a lot of assists.
Right. And again, we didn't want to go into the game and just say, hey, let's just kick it long and outrun them and see what we get. There was a purpose to trying to prepare from that game leading into Saturday's game, which is coming up against Snow. That there's certain things that you can do in some games and not the next game, but you still there's certain things you should try to do every time as part of your identity, and that's what we're trying to develop.
Excellent. And you did mention Snow, which you'll play Saturday, and that's great. Before we get that one, I just want to know, once again, your favorite moment from Monday's game against Gillette. We had so into the second half, we ended up playing all 3 keepers. The one keeper was probably going to play most of the game, but she kind of hurt her hip a little bit, so we said, well, let's pull her out. Brought in Emmy Finlayson for just a few minutes to try to
because we were going to put Sierra Verplank in, and Sierra came in and made 2 big saves at the end of the game. There wasn't there at that point, maybe the intensity had dropped a little bit. Gillette was still trying to get some opportunities in there, and Sierra stepped in and made a couple big saves. So really glad for her. She hasn't had a lot of playing time, but for her to get in and make a couple saves was good for her.
Hey, that gives me encouragement about the depth that you have. That
Right.
You'd be able to play. I imagine most, if not all, players managed to play that game.
We did. We got everybody in the game. One player's got a little bit of an injury, did not play, but everybody else was in the game.
Hey, that's amazing, awesome. So all right, now Snow College. We've got 2 games under your belt, and looking at it, Snow College. I know preseason rankings and rankings in general don't really matter too much, but they are ranked 15th in the nation. What's kind of that mindset going into this? Probably a tougher game for this.
Yeah, Snow College. I mean, I've played them before from when I was in that region. Played them all the time. They've always been very good. Know a lot of the players on that team. They're kids that we had tried to recruit or just know them. They have a new coach, so I don't know what their style will be, but I know their talent. For us, probably more than likely it'll be can we maintain a good defensive shape and idea. If we're limiting what they can do, with the other teams, we're always in the game. They'll move the ball quick. They're not afraid to shoot. Across the board, they're very solid. They're ranked 15th. They could be. That ranking might, in my opinion, be too low, or too high. Excuse me. Okay. They should be. I think they're a top 10 program. So it'll be a big challenge. Last year we played them. It was a 2-1 game into the second half, and then they scored off of 2 corner kicks that were just, and he couldn't defend it. It was just, so it ended up being a 4-1 game for them. They were better than us, but the 4-1 result was stung a little bit because it had been close. We made some adjustments in halftime, and we were controlling it. And then we gave up a corner kick, and then we kind of air went out of us at that point. So, but they're very good quality, and so we look forward to it. And we scheduled them because, hey, we got to see where we're at. We want to win the game, but we also want to be successful. But we have to be able to learn, because in the end, the game is helping to prepare us for getting closer to when our own region play will start.
Right. So what would you say is the one key factor that would decide if you win this game or not against Snow?
Obviously you got to score a goal to win, but it's going to be our defensive shape and us being smart. Even in the go back a game to when we played Gillette. Gillette scored a couple of goals on us because of our mistake. Nothing to take away from Gillette. They did their job when the mistake was made, but had we been disciplined, they would not have got those 2 opportunities. And so Snow College is going to be a tougher opponent, and so we have to even be smarter. If you're going to make fouls or do something poor in and around the box, you're going to give up goals against this team, and that's what we just have to limit.
That's excellent. All right. Well, Coach Hammond, thank you very much for being here with us. And Saturday, Casper College women's soccer, Our Lady T-Birds will play Snow College, 12 o'clock at Casper College Moraine playing fields. Hope to see you there.